Hello dear viewer, welcome to Skyrim, where even the most repulsive monster can become a hero, or like an anti-hero in this case. I guess this is a build about being a disgusting toxic creature dwelling in damp dark places. So, a little bit of a self-insert there, Billy. We will become a monster of the sewers here, of whom urban legends are whispered with fear. This monster strikes paralyzing fear in the hearts of the bravest. Its talons are sharp and poisonous. It devours corpses. It drinks blood, and some say it can fly and turn into an even scarier monster when you are not looking at it. Gameplay-wise, this is a heavily armored, unarmed sneak build. I did one like this quite recently, I know, but this time we also use a clever combination of spells and shouts for some crowd control, especially fear spells or dismay shout, to really convey how terrifying we are. With the quiet casting perk, we can leech health, cause panic and poison our enemies, all while remaining hidden just to burst out of the shadows where the time is right. Also, we turn into a vampire lord, and in fact it is advised to become a vampire lord as soon as possible. Hybrid builds like this can have a difficult early game, so can the unarmed builds, so we have a few reasons to be very cautious before we become a walking horror. The vampire lord form is most useful early on and can help you surviving the more challenging stages of the playthrough. Good news for all the vanilla lovers out there, technically this is a modded build, but the modding is really minimal. Most of your powers, spells and enchantments are going to be vanilla content, with some anniversary edition health absorbing spells playing a major role. Retrofitting this one into vanilla should be super easy, barely an inconvenience. You may need to replace some Odin poison spells with poison rune stacking technique and probably add a few alchemy perks to maximize the efficiency of your spells on higher difficulties. In fact, I am quite sure I've seen a build like this somewhere, maybe even on my friend PC Outcast's channel. This is enhanced with anniversary content though and achieves the feel of an ultimate predator. Who's there? We have a fairly obvious attribute spread, even between magicka, stamina and health. You may tilt it a little bit towards health later on, but overall 1-to-1-to-1 should work well enough. This will occasionally force you to switch between direct combat and stealthy spellcasting approach, which I think is a-okay for the character concept. The race is an Argonian, of course. What else should dwell in the sewers? It's not like we have shark-like humanoid race in Tamriel. Or maybe we do, there's a lot of weird stuff in Tamriel, but not among the playable races at least. The Hist skin power is going to be a lifesaver in hardest fights, stacking nicely with Namira's blessing obtained through feeding on corpses, and possibly with the Troll's blood spell from Odin. Add the Mora's boon black book power to it and you are basically immortal at least once a day. Very useful if you actually have to face some enemies in open combat. And the stone is the Serpent Stone. Yes, the Atronach or the Lord would be better, but really if I play another build with vanilla Atronach or Lord, I will probably have to punch my own computer, and I don't want to hurt it. I wouldn't be able to make more builds. That would be counterproductive. Serpent Stone with its daily paralysis and poison fits well with the concept, and you can stack its poison effect with poison runes or Odin poison spells to surely eliminate some otherwise dangerous enemies. We perk a lot of different skills here: heavy armor, light armor, sneak, enchanting, restoration, destruction and illusion. In vanilla you will have no need for light armor perks, instead you will need the Fists of Steel in heavy armor and, as mentioned, some alchemy perks including Benefactor. But this is how it goes with the Vokrii overhaul. In heavy armor we take the left hand branch up to face of the mountain. All the left hand perks make your melee attackers weaker, give them a chance to stagger and give you extra damage against them after their attacks. It's good enough reason to combine heavy armor with sneak, even though it may be annoying early on. It could be more efficient to focus on light armor entirely for the build like this and become more elusive while regenerating your stamina faster. I opted for heavy armor mainly because only the heavy farmer armor is sufficiently disgusting. Keep that in mind when tweaking the build to your liking. On the right we go up to elemental defense, which may be quite essential. You will be super weak to fire as a vampire. You need every little bit of protection you can get, and the item loadout doesn't help too much in that. Face of Death was taken to benefit from other heavy armor perks without a helmet. Another aesthetic choice, you may want to simply use a mod making helmets invisible. Matching set was also used as heavy-duty smithing didn't seem appropriate for the build. I still used some perkless smithing with some smithing gear, but I never bothered with it again once I reached 400 armor rating. In light armor we of course need only the unarmed combat perks, which over time will make your punching just great. This is also the bit of this build that is pretty much impossible in vanilla. With flurry of blows your power attacks will have a high chance to stagger and disarm melee opponents. This is even better considering your fear spells will also disarm people, meaning both at range and up close. A lot of enemy warriors will just stand there with no chance against you. In vanilla, I guess you need to perform some restoration looping to get some insane buff to your Fortify Unarmed enchantment. Key Strike, dealing random elemental damage on unarmed power attacks, will combine with Poison Strike's spell from Odin. Oh look! I took the Escape Artist perk again. What a surprise! Yes, sneak is fairly important to the build. Against high-level spellcasters we may need to be quick and clever. We need to move silently and roll a lot with the dodge roll, which can very briefly negate all incoming damage, elemental or physical or any damage. Our armor is so heavy we may never reach that point when nothing can ever detect you, but you may decide to use light armor at the beginning of the game, which will help you to unlock unarmed combat perks faster, and only switch to heavy armor once you have 1 rank of Silent Roll, which fortifies your sneak skill while rolling, and 1 rank of Silent Movement, which combined with Muffle spell can make you completely silent, never to be detected by hearing. At this point, combining sneak with heavy armor should become much easier. And of course Escape Artist, which makes you disappear mid-combat when you crouch. With the very heavy armor we wear, repeated crouching may be necessary to lose the pursuit, or simply crouch and roll away, getting that sneak buff we talked about. At any rate, with quiet casting, Escape Artist makes it super easy to switch between combat styles. As you lose stamina and become less effective in combat, your magicka can regenerate. Then you disappear, roll away, and proceed to cast your insanely destructive health-absorbing spells or poison spells to slowly wear them down from a safe position. The cherry on top is the Vokrii perk of Shadow Caster, which doubles the damage of your destruction spells as long as you remain hidden. This is great to pair with destruction dual casting. Dual cast Touch of Death spell from hiding will be enough to take down a bandit marauder and heal you completely on master difficulty, and almost enough on legendary. Now in illusion, as mentioned, quiet casting is an absolute must. It makes the entire hybrid combat style several times easier. Get it as soon as you can. Both fear enhancing perks will also matter a lot. When paralyzing fear triggers, the affected enemy will stay motionless, allowing you to punch them to death with no resistance or to stack marked for death and poison spells on them. Of course, we also want at least 1 rank of Master of the Mind and 2 ranks of Animage. With dual casting and the Vampire Illusion spell bonus, you won't need the 3rd rank of Animage ever. You should be able to affect most, if not all, enemies. For the destruction perks, we only need Mastery and dual casting. This is to combine with Shadowcaster perk in Sneak to get your spells cast from hiding 3 times more effective. Your destruction spells, of course, not all your spells. If you want to play beyond level 50, consider the final rank of Raw Power to get a bit more damage on those health-absorbing spells you are going to use all the time. Meanwhile, in Restoration we need the Poison perks, even though they require a few perks we will hardly ever use. Mercy can be okay early on, when you will need to heal yourself with the conventional healing spells. Later on, the Touch of Death destruction spell will become your primary source of healing. Slow Death, the final poison perk in Restoration, extends the duration of poison spells, which means you can just, say, cast Viper Blast and use your sneak to hide away and wait until they slowly perish. Stacking Marked for Death or Drained Vitality on top of that is also a good idea. Then you can eat them. It doesn't matter they are cursed and poisoned. You are a vampire, you don't care, you are completely resistant to poison and disease. And to finish things off, we of course want the extra effect in Enchanting. What a surprise again. Wow. Try to power level the skill after level 30 is achieved, so you can stay on top of the level scaling and still get a few instances of high-end fortified destruction items before the playthrough is over. Now for the gear, we need the Ring of Namira, regenerate stamina and resist fire boots, fortify destruction and fortify illusion on armor and head item, fortify heavy armor and fortify unarmed on the gauntlets, and amplify destruction and resist magic on the necklace. Now there's a few problems here. I know, first of all, we could use more Summermyst enchantments. I wanted this one to be vanilla friendly, easy to convert back into vanilla, so I refrained from that. Fortify heavy armor is decent only if you want to resto loop or alchemy enchanting loop, roleplay related decision, but you could definitely increase your armor rating with exploits and spare an enchantment slot for something better. Resist fire will more than offset your vampiric weakness to fire, but we don't have a lot of room here to use other elemental resistances. Stealth is the suggested approach against mages. Frost dragons can be dealt with in vampire lord form, fire dragons cannot. Bring backup against those, and the Ring of Namira is used for the cool and scary roleplay of a flesh-eating scary monster. There are better items for this slot, yeah, I know, but it's, you know, roleplay. Instead of a head item, I am using an extra slot from modular clothing system mod, again pure aesthetics that costs us a perk point. The enchantments listed for the head slot will still go on all head items. Other than that very long list of flaws and imperfections, it is a perfect loadout. And here is the list of spells and shouts. With your limited magicka and magicka regen, you should always consider using cheaper variants if possible, but with the build around level 50, expert spells can be used consecutively. You can definitely cast a few Viper Blasts, poisoning multiple targets for 40 seconds before you need to switch to your fists. Opening combat with Troll's Blood and Poison Strikes is a very good idea. Better health regeneration, stacking with health absorption or strangulation, and also stacking with your Namira's boon, of course, will save your life many times. Fear spells will leave your enemies helpless against your talons and magic poison, which is neat. But the best bit is that the benefits of Poison Strikes and some unarmed perks we've taken will carry over to the Vampire Lord form. Poison Strikes will also stack with the Poison Talons Vampire Lord perk, which means that with each power attack in said form, you will start a DOT of 4 points per second for 40 seconds, deal extra 20 points of poison damage from Talons, and another 60 points of random elemental damage from Key Strike, which is very neat. And for the shouts, most vitally grab Aura Whisper, marked for Death and Dismay. It's been a while since I last used Dismay. With limited magicka, it is a very good replacement for a rout spell. Anywho, as you can hopefully see, this one is a spooky, scary nighttime predator with evil feel and evil spells. Crowd control of fear spells combines very nicely with damage over time dealt by your other spells, because anyone routing and taking ongoing damage will either die off camera or return to fight considerably weaker. On top of that, the ease at which you can hide and escape your enemies makes you an extremely annoying and elusive foe who can also trigger the hissed skin, cast the Troll's Blood, and hop into the fray of battle without any elusiveness whatsoever. Overall, I give it an evil Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle out of 10. It's a blast to play, and I hope both modded and vanilla players will have some fun with this one. For now, I am off. Share, like, subscribe, of course, support me emotionally via comments and financially via Subscribestar. Most importantly, have a lot of fun, and we will see each other again, guys. Bye bye.